Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamati Nashtiprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhakta Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 9, the Dynasty of Anshuman, text 6 onwards. So we studied yesterday how Bhagirath Maharaj performed his tapasyas and pleased Mother Ganges, and she agreed, or she did not agree to come yet, and she had a couple of doubts. One was who will hold her, who will sustain the force, because she will come down with force. And if nobody sustains her, then she will pierce the surface of the earth and go down to Rasatam. And second doubt was, what will happen to my water? If I come down, people in general will bathe in me, and they will cleanse themselves of the reactions of their sinful deeds. How shall I become free from them? So Bhagirath Ji is saying now, Shri Bhagirath Uvacha, Sadhu Nyasina Shanta, Brahmishtha Lokapavana, Aranti Agam Anga Sangat, Teshvaste Yagat Ag Bhidhari. Bhagirath said, those who are saintly because of devotion service and therefore in the renounced order, free from material desires, and who are pure devotees, expert in following the regulatory principles mentioned in the Vedas, are always glorious and pure in behavior and are able to deliver all fallen souls. When such pure devotees bathe in your water, the sinful reactions accumulated from other people will certainly be counteracted. For such devotees always keep in the core of their hearts the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who can vanquish all sinful reactions. So this is the power of devotees. When pure devotees bathe in your water, they will counteract all the sinful reactions. See, that's what even Yudhishthira Maharaj told Vidurji when Vidurji came back after his pilgrimage, and meanwhile the war of Mahabharata happened. Vidurji said, "You are Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantasthen Gadamrita. You are the one who purify the places of pilgrimage. Why? Because in your heart you are always carrying the Supreme Lord." So somebody can say, well, as Paramatma is in the heart of everybody. Yeah, as Paramatma is there, but how many of us are aware of that? But those who are devotees, they are carrying the Lord, not just Paramatma, they are carrying their Ishtadev. If somebody's Ishtadev is Radha Krishna or Gaur Nitai or Narsingadev or Sitaram, they're carrying that Ishtadev in their heart because they love the deities so much. They love their Ishtadev. They love the Lord so much. And that's when they go to these places of pilgrimage, they purify those places. And this is what Bhagirath Maharaj is saying. Mother Ganges is available to everyone for bathing. Therefore, not only will sinful persons bathe in the Ganges water, but in Haridwar and other holy places where the Ganges flows, saintly persons and devotees will also bathe in the water of the Ganges. Devotees and saintly persons advanced in the renounced order can deliver even the Ganges. Tirthi Kurvanti Tirtham. Because saintly devotees always keep the Lord within the core of their hearts, they can perfectly cleanse the holy places of all sinful reactions. Therefore, people in general must always respectfully honor saintly persons. It is ordered that as soon as one sees a Vaishnava or even a sannyasi, one should immediately offer respect to such a holy man. If one forgets to show respect in this way, one must observe a fast for that day. This is a Vedic injunction. One must be extremely careful to refrain from committing offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee or saintly person. So one must show respect as soon as one sees a Vaishnava or even a sannyasi. And Prabhupada did not say Vaishnava sannyasi, it could be any sannyasi. One should offer respects immediately. Otherwise, one should fast for that day. Such strict regulations or injunctions are there. And saintly persons, now saintly persons, they themselves are so humble. They don't go to the places of pilgrimage saying, "Oh, I'm going to purify this place." No, they say we are very sinful. We have come here for our purification. In fact, this was a habit of Pishima. Pishima was Srila Prabhupada's sister. She was such a pure person and so humble. She would always carry some Ganges water in a little bottle with her. Always, because she was from Calcutta and Ganges flows through Calcutta. So she would always carry a little bottle with Ganges water. And no matter where would she go, wherever she would sit down. So when she would get up from that place, she would sprinkle some water of Ganges on that place, saying that, "Oh, this place has become dirty because I sat down. Let the Ganges water purify this place." That was her mood. So this is the beauty of devotees. They never think they are anybody strong or any powerful. So Prabhupada said there are methods of prayashchita or atonement. So we just read that if somebody commits offense at the lotus feet of a devotee, saintly person, one should be careful, and if he has done, then he should atone for it. So there are methods of prayashchita or atonement, but they're inadequate to cleanse one of sinful reactions. One can be cleansed of sinful reactions only by devotional service, as stated in regard to the history of Ajahn, Kechit Kevalya Bhaktya. Only a rare person who has adopted complete, unalloyed devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful reactions with no possibility that they will revive. He can do this simply by discharging devotional service, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. If one is under the protection of a devotee and sincerely renders service unto him, by this process of bhakti yoga, one is certainly able to counteract all sinful reactions. So sinful reactions don't only go away by bathing in Ganges, but Ganges bathing is certainly very purifying. But the problem is the propensity to commit sin doesn't go away. That can only go away by devotional service. Because then, as Shloka says, just as the sun can immediately dissipate fog by its rays. So when sun dissipates the fog, it doesn't come back. It's gone. That's it. But other processes of atonement are just like it was explained in Ajamil's case. It's like burning of a forest full of bamboo trees. So when there's a forest fire, the bamboo tree forest, it just completely burns to ashes. But the roots are always there. So when the roots are there, the bamboo trees grow back. So similarly, any other process of atonement, because the root or propensity of committing sin or the lusty desires, basically the lusty desire, they're still there. But devotional service removes everything. Devotional service to Krishna can uproot the weeds of sinful reactions with no possibility that they will revive. That's the beauty of devotional service. Dharishati tevekam rudrastvatma sharirinam yasminnautamam idam protam vishvam shati vatantushu. Like a cloth woven of threads extending for its length and breadth, this entire universe in all its latitude and longitude is situated under different potencies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Shiva is incarnation of the Lord, and thus he represents a super soul in the embodied soul. He can sustain your forceful waves on his head. The water of the Ganges is supposed to rest on the head of Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who sustains the entire universe by different potencies. Lord Shiva is described in Brahma Samhita as Kshiram Yatha Dadi Vikara Vishesha Yoga. Milk changes into yogurt when mixed with yogurt culture, but actually yogurt is constitutionally nothing but milk. Similarly, Govinda, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, assumes the form of Lord Shiva for the special purpose of material transactions. I offer my obeisances at Lord Govinda's lotus feet. Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the same sense that yogurt is also milk, although at the same time it is not milk. For the maintenance of the material world, there are three incarnations: Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Vishnu in an incarnation for the mode of ignorance. Material world exists predominantly in the mode of ignorance. Therefore, Lord Shiva is compared here to the longitude and latitude of the entire universe, which resembles a cloth woven of threads extending for both its length and breadth. So longitude and latitude mean just like a cloth, it has all its threads. So material world is compared to this cloth made of mostly mode of ignorance predominantly, and that mode is governed by Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, Bhagirath is saying that he will sustain your force on his head. Iti uktva sanripo devam tapsatoshya chivam kalen alpa iyasa rajans tasyesh chashvatushyata. After saying this, Bhagirath satisfied Lord Shiva by performing austerities. So King Parikshit, Lord Shiva was very quickly satisfied with Bhagirath. Lord Shiva is known as Ashutosh. He gets pleased very quickly. The words Ashva Atushyat indicate that Lord Shiva was satisfied very soon. Therefore, another name for Lord Shiva is Ashutosh. Materialistic persons become attached to Lord Shiva because Lord Shiva bestows benedictions upon anyone and everyone very quickly, not caring to know how his devotees prosper or suffer. Although materialistic persons know that material happiness is nothing but another side of suffering, they want it. And to get it very quickly, they worship Lord Shiva. We find that materialists are generally devotees of many demigods, especially Lord Shiva and Mother Durga. They do not actually want spiritual happiness, for it is almost unknown to them. But if one is serious about being happy spiritually, he must take shelter of Lord Vishnu, as the Lord personally demands, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I should deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. But people in general, they don't want this. They only want money, money, money. And for that, they approach Lord Shiva. But here, Bhagirath Ji also approached Lord Shiva for what? So that Ganges can come and liberate his forefathers. Tateti Ragya Vihitam Sarva Lokahita Shiva Dadhara Vahito Gangam Padaputa Jalam Hare. When King Bhagirath approached Lord Shiva and requested him to sustain the forceful waves of the Ganges, Lord Shiva accepted the proposal by saying, "Let it be so." Then with great attention, he sustained Ganges on his head. For the water of Ganges is purifying, having emanated from the toes of Lord Vishnu. And that was the reason Lord Shiva agreed. That, it is coming after bathing the toes of Lord Vishnu, I better hold it on my head. Text 10. So now again, some text, there is no purport, so we'll just go to the translation. The great and saintly King Bhagirath brought the Ganges, which can deliver all the fallen souls, to that place on earth where the bodies of his forefathers lay burnt to ashes. Bhagirath mounted a swift chariot and drove before Mother Ganges, who followed him, purifying many countries until they reached the ashes of Bhagirath's forefathers, the sons of Sagar, who were thus sprinkled with water from the Ganges. So when it says purifying many countries, of course, we can say there is only one country, India. But that time it was ruled by different kings, different places. So finally, Ganges from Gangotri, it reaches Gangasagar. Because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offended a great personality, the heat of their bodies had increased and they were burnt to ashes. But simply by being sprinkled with water from the Ganges, all of them became eligible to go to the heavenly planets. What then is to be said of those who use the water of Mother Ganges to worship her? This is how purifying and how powerful, how potent the water of Ganges is. Just sprinkling little water of Ganges on the ashes, and ashes were there for a long, long time. And they all became eligible to go to heavenly planets. Mother Ganges is worshipped by the water of Ganges. A devotee takes a little water from the Ganges and offers it back to the Ganges. When the devotee takes the water, Mother Ganges does not lose anything. And when the water is offered back, Mother Ganges does not increase. But in this way, the worshipper of the Ganges is benefited. Similarly, a devotee of the Lord offers the Lord Patram Pushpam Phalam Toya, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water in great devotion. But everything, including the leaf, flower, fruit, and water, belongs to the Lord. And therefore, there is nothing to renounce or to accept. One must simply take advantage of the bhakti process, because by following this process, one does not lose anything, but one gains the favor of the Supreme Person. Text 13. Simply by having water from the Ganges come in contact with the ashes of their burnt bodies, the sons of Sagar Maharaj were elevated to heavenly planets. Therefore, what is said to be a devotee who worships Mother Ganges faithfully with a determined vow? One can only imagine the benefit that accrues to such a devotee. And can you imagine the fortune of devotees who are living in Mayapur, and every day they can go and take their bath in Ganges, come and worship Radha Madhav? Amazing. Can't even imagine. Nahi etat paramascharayam swargunya yati hotitam ananta charanam boja prasuta ananta charanam boja prasutaya bhavachita. Because Mother Ganges emanates from the lotus toe of the Supreme Personality of God, Anantadev. She is able to liberate one from material bondage. Therefore, whatever is described herewith about her is not at all wonderful. It has actually been seen that anyone who regularly worships Mother Ganges simply by bathing in her water keeps very good health and gradually becomes a devotee of the Lord. This is the effect of bathing in the water of the Ganges. Bathing in the Ganges is recommended in all Vedic Shastras. And one who takes to this path will certainly be completely freed from all sinful reactions. The practical example of this is that the sons of Maharaj Sagar went to the heavenly planets when water from the Ganges merely touched the ashes of their burnt bodies. Very, very powerful. Great sages, completely freed from material lusty desires, devote their minds fully to the service of the Lord. Such persons are liberated from material bondage without difficulty, and they become transcendently situated, acquiring the spiritual quality of the Lord. This is the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhagirath had a son named Shruta, whose son was Nabha. This son was different from Nabha previously described. Nabha had a son named Sindhudvip. From Sindhudvip came Ayutayu, and from Ayutayu came Rituparna, who became a friend of Nalaraj. Rituparna taught Nalaraj the art of gambling, and Nalaraj gave Rituparna lessons in controlling and maintaining horses. The son of Rituparna was Sarvakama. So further dynasty is being explained. So Rituraj taught Nalaraj the art of gambling. That's also an art, and Kshatriyas are supposed to be learned in both art of gambling and art of fighting and art of ruling, administration. They should know everything. Purport. Gambling is also an art. Kshatriyas are allowed to exhibit talent in this art of gambling. By the grace of Krishna, the Pandavas lost everything by gambling and were deprived of their kingdom, wife, family, and home because they were not expert in the gambling art. And Prabhupada, see how he says, by the grace of Krishna, Pandavas lost. So everything was orchestrated by Krishna. In other words, a devotee may not be expert in materialistic activities. It is therefore advised in the Shastra that materialistic activities are not at all suitable for the living entities, especially the devotees. A devotee should therefore be satisfied to eat whatever is sent by, as prasad by the Supreme Lord. A devotee remains pure because he does not take to sinful activities such as gambling, intoxication, meat eating, and illicit sex. And that's why Pandavas were not expert in gambling. Text 18. Sarvakama had a son named Sudas, whose son named known as Saudas was the husband of Damayanti. Saudas is sometimes known as Mitrasaha or Kalamashpad. Because of his own misdeed, Mitrasaha was sonless and was cursed by Vashishta to become a man-eater, a Rakshas. Text 19. King Parikshit said, O Shukdev Goswami, why did Vashishta, the spiritual master of Saudas, curse that great soul? I wish to know of this. If it is not a confidential matter, please describe it to me. Shukdev Goswami said, once Saudas went to live in the forest where he killed a man-eater Rakshas, but forgave and released a man-eater's brother. That brother, however, decided to take revenge. Thinking to harm the king, he became the cook at the king's house. One day, the king's spiritual master, Vashishta Muni, was invited for dinner, and the Rakshas cook served him human flesh. So, so all the stories of being envious, jealous, revenge, these things have been going on since in the beginning of time. Text 22. While examining the food given to him, Vashishta Muni, by his mystic power, could understand that it was unfit to eat, being the flesh of a human being. He was very angry at this and immediately cursed Saudas to become a man-eater. When Vashishta understood that the human flesh had been served by the Rakshas, not by the king, he undertook 12 years of austerity to cleanse himself for having cursed the faultless king. Meanwhile, King Saudas took water and chanted the Shapa mantra, preparing to curse Vashishta, but his wife, Madhyanti, forbade him to do so. Then the king saw that the 10 directions, the sky and the surface of the globe were full of living entities everywhere. So I don't know the meaning of this part. Saudas thus acquired the propensity of a man-eater and received on his leg a black spot, for which he was known as Kalamashpad. Once King Kalamashpad saw a Brahmin couple engaged in sexual intercourse in the forest. Being influenced by the propensity of a Rakshas and being very hungry, King Saudas seized the Brahmin. Then the poor woman, the Brahman's wife, said to the king, "O hero, you are not actually a man-eater. Rather, you are among the descendants of Maharaj Ikshvaku. Indeed, you are a great fighter, the husband of Madhyanti. You should not act irreligiously in this way. I desire to have a son. Please therefore return my husband, who has not yet impregnated me." O king, O hero, this human body is meant for universal benefit. If you kill this body untimely, you will kill all the benefits of human life. So, Prabhupada says, the body of a human being is extremely valuable because in this body one can understand the instructions of Krishna and attain the ultimate destination of the living entity. The living entity is within the material world to fulfill the mission of going back to Godhead. In the material world, one hankers for happiness. But because one does not know the ultimate destination, one changes bodies one after another. However, if one gets the opportunity to possess a human form of body, this body he can fulfill the 4 principles of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And if one is properly regulated, he makes further progress after liberation to engage in the service of Radha and Krishna. This is the success of life, to stop the process of repeated birth and death and to go back home, back to Godhead, to be engaged in the service of Radha and Krishna. Therefore, taking a human body is meant for completing one's progress in life. Throughout human society, killing of a human being is taken very seriously. Hundreds and thousands of animals are killed in slaughterhouses, and no one cares about them. But the killing of even one human being is taken very seriously. Why? Because a human form of body is extremely important in executing the mission of life. So the Brahmani, or the wife of the Brahman, was pleading to Saudas, please return my husband, don't kill him, don't eat him up. And he is supposed to give me son and supposed to fulfill the purpose of his human life. But that did not happen. So many things happen in the material world. Of course, we can understand Vashishta Muni becoming angry at Saudas and cursing him, and the Rakshas, brother of the Rakshas, he was forgiven by Saudas and kept as a cook in his kitchen. So there's so many things go on, and actually it's all controlled by Krishna. Of course, we all have our duties to perform. We cannot bring this excuse that, oh, Krishna, you do whatever you want to do and I'll do whatever I want to do. No, we have our duties. We have to have proper intelligence, proper consciousness with which to learn how to serve the Lord. But ultimately, everything is in Krishna's hands. Everything. So we just have to pray to him to give us the right consciousness, right intelligence, so we can fulfill the purpose that he has sent us, or that purpose that we have come to this artha. That's all. And not try to take revenge, try to keep grudges. Just leave everything up to him. So we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so you all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.